3. 1, 2, 3.
This is how to start a podcast off, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately,
Mine went already mostly full.
I'm gonna have to. It's gonna look bad. I'm gonna be drink. It's gonna take 3 of these cups to drink this big ass can because almost 20 ounce Voodoo Ranger. I'm gonna put it right here.
Yeah, I've basically drank half that mini bottle of Hennessy out of this one cup.
That's a good hazy one. You drink what?
Half that bottle of Hennessy already.
Oh wow! Off to a great start.
We are. Great start.
I don't even have my hat.
Oh.
You never. I think you wear a hat every single video.
Yes, I have. But it's mostly because I just wear a hat on weekends because I can't during the week. Okay. And I have like a hat collection. I like my hats.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is y'all's first time seeing Zach's actual haircut. Because usually it's like backwards and you just got like the fucking few pieces hanging out, you know?
Yep. And I'm not bald yet, but I am going more gray than most people expect for my age. Which, speaking of which, I'm now officially 29. I don't know.
You know, you do have some gray. I know. Yeah, never thought about that.
All the stress. That's why I tell London it's mostly her fault. Every time somebody points out, I'm like, you people stress me out. That's why.
This is why everybody makes fun of me.
All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, we've got a couple of things to go over. We got something pretty interesting. So, as you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, we had a giveaway. It's been about
at least a month, maybe a month and a half too.
Yeah, month and a half. We had a giveaway, and well, Zach, you want to explain what happened?
Yeah, we got the message from the guy. There's no way to message someone directly on YouTube anymore. I guess there used to be way back in the day, but basically you have to comment, and we have to like be able to track your socials or something like that. We have to be able to find you or to be able to send you a message. So we need an email, we need a social media account, we need something. Some way of contacting you. Well, the guy who won, I think there was a misunderstanding there. We basically told him in the video, and we commented and said, hey, you're the winner. Give us some kind of information. We'll take that information, we'll delete your comment so nobody else sees it. And then we will reach out to you to get an address or something to send your prize to. Well, he never replied to any of those messages, and then started commenting on other videos that we didn't give him the prize.
Several videos, like 3 or 4 videos.
Yeah.
Like, and we're like, dude, like, and I felt bad at first when I first saw the first time he did that. I was like, dude, he must have did it and we didn't notice. So I went back and checked the comments, and I was like, no, he didn't even like it or acknowledge it at all. In fact, when he responded, like when I said, hey, you're the winner, send me your information, he responded below that comment, like not below, but it's a separate comment. There's only like a few comments on that video. He responded a separate comment responding about how he didn't respond to his comment. It was super wacky. It was like...
Now, there may be something going on with YouTube. There may be like... In fairness, he might have an underage account, so it may not let him do certain things.
Yeah, and we did say 18 plus because obviously there were some things in there that, you know, well, you don't want to send kids through, you know, shit through the mail anyway. But you know, having a survival kit, you know, that's why it was 18 plus.
Yeah, I mean, it has blades and things like that in there, which aren't illegal for someone under 18 to own, but still, just for safety measures, we just figured, we'll make sure an adult receives the prize. But
we still have the prize. It's actually sitting on your guys' stand over here.
Yeah, basically. Just waiting on literally someone. If we don't hear back from him basically on this video or some kind of reasonable way to reach out to him, then we'll just go on to the next person.
Yeah, because we did have a runner-up. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers, guys. The channel's grown quite a bit in the past about 3 or 4 months. The channel has
quadrupled.
Quadrupled. Yeah, because we had about 1.3 thousand when you, or just maybe it just hit or was just about to hit 1.3 when you got on board. Yeah,
we did a quick short when you were just shy of 1K. But then when I actually started making videos and editing and doing stuff like that, we were probably about 1.3 at that point. And since then, we've grown to nearly 5, which thank you guys for that.
Yeah, we're super stoked. I'm ready to hit 10. I'm ready to double it again.
Yeah, we're getting our watch time hours up. We're trying to put out some more good content. Make sure y'all got plenty of stuff to watch. That way y'all can enjoy more of our backlog. If you do find the channel and you want to check out some of the other stuff we looked at. Some of our Temu product videos have popped off a little bit.
Yeah, the Temu products are pretty cool.
Yeah, people seem to like that just because it's a weird topic. It's kind of, everybody's talking about nowadays just because Temu might be a scam kind of thing. And it kind of is. Anytime you buy some cheap Chinese crap,
it's a 50-50.
Yeah. There's a chance you get it and it will never fit. Like, if you buy clothing on there, there's a solid chance it'll never fit you. But it also may be designed around a Chinese person who is not quite your size.
Yeah. I mean,
In my case,
have you ever seen like a fat Chinese woman?
No, you don't see a whole lot of fat people from other countries in general. But it's partly because of our the way our diets are set up in America. What's cheaper calories?
So large in China is probably like a small here.
I think I wear an XL pretty comfortably. It's a little loose on me sometimes, and then I had to order a double XL off of Shein, that website, and the shoulders were still tight because I guess they're just not very they made the stomach wider, but the shoulders weren't broader.
I've never seen like a thicker Asian guy. They're all like real. I've always just seen like small.
Oh yeah, we got a new thing. I bought us a little sign for the podcast, and I put did some audio work. I've got some more sound barriers up, so hopefully this audio should come across a lot clearer than the previous ones.
Yeah.
In the previous ones, you could hear my ventilation systems running. You could hear my pipes when water would run. I'm hoping I've kind of sound trapped everything, so you should be able to just let it go smoothly.
Yeah, guys, and the podcast itself, as time progresses, they'll get better, more interesting. We've only been doing the podcast for like 2 or 3 months. 3 months, man.
Yeah, but we can definitely do more on it. And I'm going to try to push the envelope a little bit more on the podcast since it's set up in my house. Maybe we can do some more stuff in the background. Maybe we could do more audience involvement. I know a lot of stuff. Eventually, I'd like to do a live podcast.
Yes, that would be. I'd love to do a live. We'll have to definitely get our followers up just a little bit more.
Maybe even eventually bring on some guests and things like that.
Yeah.
We're still in talks about potentially doing a collaborative effort on a different podcast. We don't really want to go into details about that one just yet until things are ironed out and we actually have a date set.
Yeah. But if we do it, it'll be a cool one. It's definitely something to tune in for.
You may see us on some other similar related podcasts as well.
I'm excited. I need to reach out to him again. But yeah, guys, I just want to get around to as we do them more, we'll be able to get more interested with them. Kind of takes practice to basically have a conversation with a camera watching. Yeah. But it's getting there, guys. It's just Zach's been putting a lot of work in getting the audio and the room set up so that it sound better. I'm sure if you compare our first podcast to this one, it's going to be a huge difference.
I believe it'll be extremely helpful when we have everything set up fully. I feel like this is a good start. I'm eventually going to add some foam layers to these so it traps even more. That way, instead of buying like a soundproofing wall, you just stitch foam into an old blanket or something like that. Because essentially that's what it is. It's just foam pieces, but they have specific shapes that are designed to trap sound waves. But we're not trying to get that crazy with it.
Yeah, we, whenever we got like 100K subs, maybe we'll sink a good chunk of change into doing like a crazy room. But for now, guys, this is what we can make do with. I'm smirking, Zach, because there is something that I haven't talked to you about, but so. I do sales. Well, I did sales. Today was actually my last day doing that. But this week we had to do a repossession on a motorcycle that we sold. We did in-house financing on it. I actually in-housed it. This girl purchased it, and she's had it literally. So with in-house, everybody knows you pay a lot more for it. Okay.
Yes.
So how we did it, we don't do interest, but we make the price of the vehicle itself go up. So basically, it's about a $1,200 motorcycle. This is like a Chinese street legal bike, and we end up selling it for $2,000 instead because she's in-housing it. So She put $1,000 down, which is about what we had in the bike. We were like $80 shy of what we had in it.
Right.
Sorry, she put $1,000 down on a $1,200 bike and tried to
Finance
the rest.
sales live. So yeah.
Don't do that. This is not legal advice or financial advice or anything, but don't do that. Okay?
Don't do in-house, guys. If you can't buy it outright or you don't got the credit, then you don't need it.
Secure your own financing if you're going to finance something. Go to your bank, go to credit unions, go to things like that. Do not show up to the dealership without your own financing approval paperwork. That's just pro tip. You'll get double the percentage. It's insane.
Yeah.
So this bike she bought, you can get on Amazon for like $800. Okay. Our sale price was like $1,200 because we don't get them wholesale. We just buy them bulk, so we save a
But
little.
y'all are a local shop. She ain't got to pay for shipping. She gets
Exactly.
She has a person there if something goes wrong that can help her.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
are
so-
advantages to shopping in person and reducing your supply chain from ordering something on Amazon for, and then not arriving for 9 months.
Exactly. So it's not exactly like a lot of people look at like sort of a scam, but it's not because we build it there. We make sure everything's functional how it's supposed to be. But anyway, so I pulled her credit and it was like a 400 and something. So obviously I was like, well, banks definitely they're not gonna take this. So anyway, I was like, look, what kind of money can you come up down? So she put $1,000 down. Like I said, the bike you could get for $800 on Amazon. It was just a little X Pro 125 Enduro, but like a cafe cruisers type deal. Anyway, so she put the $1,000 down, and then this month, which was this week, I think it was Thursday or something when we repossessed it. She was 3 days late on her payment, right? So boss man was like, hey, call her up, make sure, she's going to make the payment. So I called her, and she's like, no. She's like, you guys are going to have to come get it because I don't work now because I broke my arm. And I was like, we were like, well, shit, she probably broke her arm on the damn motorcycle, and it's probably totaled. Well, no, come to find out, she broke her arm because she was, I don't know how she became unconscious. She was sitting in a chair, became unconscious, and fell out and broke her arm. That's what she claims.
There's a few ways that happens. In this area, it is probably drugs. Don't want to slander nobody. But, I mean, if you're, like, ever in a drive-thru at, like, a McDonald's or something on lunch, and the guy in front of you is just passed out, there's a 90% chance that man's high as a kite. Most people who just... I've been extremely tired before. I've worked, 7-12s and things like that at Matsuo where we worked together. That sucked. Those drive home, they got a little sketchy. That's not typically what happens with people. Most of those people, if you're sitting in a chair and you fall out and you break your arm, there's a chance you weren't doing drugs. There's a better chance you were.
This girl comes off as a girl that
Probably.
That put $1,000 down payment on an $800 bike.
probably, probably maybe drugs. But so I made her.
This is not slander. She might just be a perfectly upstanding citizen. We don't know. We're just kind of in East Tennessee. You just kind of have this. You just deal with it a lot in this area. There's a meme I sent my cousin about it. He's just like, what does your state have? They were talking about Georgia having peaches, and he said, my state's got the best fentanyl your neighbor's catalytic converter could buy.
Oh gosh.
And it's about right. We do have a lot of drug addiction in this area. And like this area, southeast Kentucky, southwest Virginia,
Meth.
yeah, the West Virginia, like you see that in a lot of like documentaries where they document West Virginia having a lot of drug problems.
Yeah.
I think they said there's a spot in Tennessee, in Middle Tennessee, that sold 5 times more Sudafed boxes from one Walgreens than there was the population of the entire city.
Wow.
On a monthly basis, they did this. For those of you that don't know, you can make meth out of Sudafed boxes. Anyway. Once again, not legal advice. Don't do that.
No reason Zach would know how to make meth.
I listen. I know a lot of useless facts, and that's one of them.
Well, okay, so anyway,
Back to topic.
so I called her, and she was like, yeah, I broke my arm, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, well, so are you wanting to do a voluntary, for us to do a voluntary repossession? She's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to afford it. And, her payment was like $160 for 6 months after her $1,000 down. So I was like, okay, well, let me come get it. And I scheduled a time with her. We showed up, threw it in the back of the truck. It had been wrecked, of course. And she's like, oh, well, I already dropped the insurance. So, okay, well, we got to eat the cost of fixing this piece of junk. So we loaded up. And as we're leaving, so there's a truck with a camper top on it, okay? You know what a camper top on the truck cab is, or truck bed is. Well, I'm going to have Zach try to find it and splice it up for y'all so you can see what I'm talking about. So there was a sticker, and it was on the whole tailgate of the truck. It took up the whole tailgate. And it was Joe Biden with his arms and legs tied up cross with duct tape over his mouth curled up. It was hilarious. Oh my God. I don't know how you can buy that stuff. You could not go to any other country and buy something like that.
Yeah, God bless America, man. God bless.
It took all that for me to tell you that, by the way.
That is hilarious, though.
I had to build the story up. I had to build the suspense, guys, so we could actually have something to talk about.
I mean, you definitely didn't need to, but that is funny.
No, we'll find a picture, and it's hilarious. If I had an old truck, I'd put it on there.
What was it? I actually had the guy who cut my hair today, which is why my hair looks like this, and I didn't bother wearing a hat. It actually looks okay since I got a haircut today. Me and him were talking for a little bit, and he cuts my hair often enough. He's a local barber. He has a policy, cash only, no cell phones in the thing. It seems like a weird policy from nowadays, but it's actually super nice to just be able to sit at a local barbershop and just kind of chat with the people in your community. You get to meet actual people and talk to them about their lives and things like that. It's always an experience for me, and I enjoy going. I always meet somebody who's relatively important in the town. I always meet small business owners. I meet people that are higher up in some of the local factories. I meet just like different people who have like left some major facilities like Train Air Conditioning. I know a guy who left there and started his own business. And I wouldn't have known that if we were just sitting there texting on our phone waiting on a haircut.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to, I guess get in touch with people would be the way to say it, because a lot of people are out of touch. That's why in the sales business, especially with older people that have nobody to talk to, every one of them wants to tell you their life story. And I'm not trying to be like hateful, but like some of them take up an hour of your time and aren't going to buy a thing.
Yeah. It depends on what you're selling at that point. If you're selling them a car, yeah, it's like, okay, I'll sit here and hang out for an hour because I'm going to get a solid commission on this. You selling them a house, something like that. If you're selling them a $1,200 motorbike that you're going to make like 5% off of, it's like, hey, man, I got stuff to do.
I actually got a good story for you. I don't think I've told you this, but this is a pretty interesting one regarding this topic. So there was an old man and his wife that came in the store, and they were going to buy a side-by-side. He goes, okay, I really love this side-by-side, and I want an enclosure. He said, I'm going to give you this $500 down to hold this unit for me until tomorrow, and I'll come back and pay the rest. But he was telling me his life story, basically, and how his wife was dying, and she's, like, right there. And this guy, he starts, like, kind of crying, but he's, like, kind of, like, leaning on me.
Oh.
On me.
He was holding you.
Yes, not her, me. Okay? So, it's not, it's sad, but it's like, it was very uncomfortable.
Did you hug him back?
No. I was just like,
God, that's mean.
Dude, I was just like, oh, okay.
His wife was dying.
Yeah, but she looked like she had some time left, probably. Anyway, so get this. But this is what he kept repeating. He was like, I need this to get around after my wife dies.
Get around what?
And to get around his yard, I guess. Fuck, I don't know.
And maybe he's got... should have been nicer to him. Maybe he's got a ton of land.
No, listen. So this guy took up an hour and a half of my time, right? And I'm like, okay, well, he's buying, blah blah blah. So
should have asked him what kind of property he had that we could go hunting.
Yeah. Well, I finally got him. I got him out of there, and the next day, his wife calls, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Blah blah blah. She's like, well, my husband's changed his mind that he don't want that unit, and he'd like to get his $500 non-refundable deposit back.
Yep.
And I'm like, are you fucking serious? This guy took up like an hour and a half of my time. And then she's like, yeah, he's done this a couple times at some dealerships. And I'm like, what? So you just go around like crying and telling everybody your wife's dying and then making her call everybody back to get the deposit back? It was like a very weird situation. I gave him his money back, by the way.
Why would you do that? Is it like fun? No, it can't be fun. Why would they do that?
I don't know. Dude, people are crazy.
Maybe they think you're going to give them something for free, and they're just going to like, all right, well, sorry your wife's dying. Well, here's a special discount on this other.
Let me give you $5,000 off this $10,000 unit. Let me do that.
I wonder if that worked at some of the other places. If he gets like $2,000 off of like a $10,000 unit because they're like, listen, well, here's what I can do for you since you're in need. Because that is a common sales tactic. But at the same time, it's like...
At the end of the day, you got to make money to keep the fucking lights on.
Yeah. If you're selling at a decent like profit margin, you're not over here just slashing 20% off the price of your products willy-nilly. If you can do that, that means you could have done it in the first place. You didn't have to do that to people. That's what was that? I saw a story about that one time about what was it? It wasn't a debt collector, or it may have been a debt collector or something like that. And this guy was talking. He owed him like $400. He just forgot to pay one of his bills.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, hey, I forgot to pay one of his bills. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure. And he's like, I heard sometimes y'all offer discounts to people for stuff like this, if it ends up in debt collection or something like that. And they were just like, no, not really. You kind of owe us all $400. He's like, I really don't want to pay all $400. She goes, all right, okay, I guess I'll take $200. And then she just literally took him one sentence, and they just slashed the price in half of like, because they paid pennies on the dollar for the debt.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, it does still negatively affect your credit score and things like that.
Yeah, if it gets in the collections, it does.
Yes. But at the same time, like, he just got the price of his debt slashed in half with one sentence.
That's true.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Now, like you said, it affects your credit score, which if you have to get higher interest rates later, you're going to lose more than $200 on any kind of one-off thing. And if you owe them large amounts, like if it's a medical debt, you owe them like $5,000-6,000, they're not going to take any. They may, if you don't pay for a while and you try to avoid them for a while, but once again, not legal advice or financial advice. Don't do that. But pay your bills. All right, that's some advice.
Southern Bang is not responsible for anything you say or do.
I'm barely responsible for Kyle, and he's half of it.
Damn it. Well, all that information just gave me an idea for our next little episode. Do like a shorter session. I've got a good topic to go over, but I think it should be a topic on its own. We'll go over it later.
Yeah, that's good. One topic I wouldn't mind us talking about, and it's something interesting I saw. I talked to you about this a little bit before the podcast started. Okay, so I got an alert on my phone. It was about an old article about the most expensive guns ever sold at auction. And I want to say it was the Ulysses S. Grant. It was one of his revolvers. It was in pristine condition, and it sold at there's actually a pretty famous auction house that sells a lot of high-end guns like that. That specifically, like, it's not a Sotheby's, so they focus, which does everything. They do a lot of sports and like art and things like that. This one focuses in on firearms, which is, I guess, it's kind of its own niche.
Yeah.
And there was a few of them on there. I'll try to like get some more information on some of those. But it got me thinking. I was kind of curious. We have a gun channel. You have a lot nicer gun. You have your Scar, and you have that Galil. I didn't know you had that nice of a gun when I first was talking to you, kind of thing, and we talked about some of the guns that we had and things like that. Honestly, I had a nice AR not too long ago. I think we shot it in one of the videos. It was a little $600 AR. I ended up getting rid of that, by the way. I now have that bullpup, the 12 gauge that we shot in one of our last shorts. And by the way, this time I'll keep my elbow down. That thing beat the crap out of my shoulder. But, it was just one of those things. I let my shooting habits slip a little bit. I need to get better on that. But that's probably honestly one of the more expensive guns I have right now, and it's not that expensive of a gun. So it got me thinking, what some of our audience members have, what would your most expensive gun be? Like, what's your, pride and joy?
Good question.
Is it actually the gun itself? Is it the attachments you put on it? We had that Trigicon scope up there. Or no, that's the Tango 6-hour scope. Never mind. We had a Trigicon scope up there. That's about a $1,300 scope. That, in combination with his Galil, we're like $4,500. We put a couple more attachments on that. We have a $5,000 setup. Meanwhile, I'm over here rocking a $500 pump automatic shotgun. So, I'm kind of curious what our audience has. And is that, Scar, your most expensive gun?
That would be pretty close, yeah.
I had a feeling it'd be somewhere in there just because. And that's one thing I always find interesting is how expensive some of the really nicer guns can be.
Yeah, sky's the limit.
Yeah. We do have some plans for his Scar, which, for some more videos on stuff like that later. Because I've found those type of videos to perform well anytime you have like a really expensive niche product. Because you kind of want to see what it can do, even if you don't own it, because maybe you might own it one day. Maybe it comes down in price, you get an older model, or you get something later on down the road, or maybe you just save up some money because you really want one and you really want to know what it can do. We're going to try to do some more exploration on some more higher end guns as well, but right now we've got quite a few other things going on. Speaking of which, Kyle, you're starting a new career.
That's right. So earlier I mentioned that I am getting out of sales. I've been doing that for 2 years. I'm sales manager and salesman both. So I do all the bank stuff and, also the selling part of it. But I'm getting out of that and I'm getting into doing hot shot trucking. I don't know if you guys heard of that before. Basically, it's just transporting stuff, construction materials, cars, pretty much everything, odds and ends. You just use at least a 3/4 ton pickup truck, flatbed trailer. It's going to be a very interesting journey. I'm going to get to travel, make a lot more money than I'm currently making. But also, if you guys are interested in seeing some content like that, let me know in the comments below, because I was talking to Zach and we're kind of debating putting it on this channel or not. If that's something you guys want to see, because I know as of right now we've pretty much just done guns, a couple survival videos, and even a couple of car repair videos I've done. So I've done a little bit of everything on the channel, but now that it's growing a little bit, try to see what you guys want to see. So let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see, or if you're thinking about getting into it. We can go over what kind of costs it is getting into it, what all you need, because I've got quite a bit of that all added up, and it's a very expensive thing to get into. My broker. So I don't have anything on my record other than one speeding ticket from October of last year. Only thing on my fucking driver's license.
Got caught, huh, Kyle?
Yeah, got caught. So, and anyway, so it was going to be like $500 to give him to start so he can get my GPS and some other stuff I'm supposed to have, right? Well, each point of my license is an additional $250. And I had, that one ticket had points on my license, so I had to pay $1,000 to the broker up front. And that's because the insurance, he covers my insurance, so that was more expensive for him. So that's why, I had to pay more. So it completely sucked. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. It's very expensive to get into. It would be fun to do some videos on explaining that if that's something you guys are interested in. If not, I'll figure something else out.
I agree. This is something we've kind of discussed right now, is kind of the direction of the channel. We have the topics we love to cover and we'll always cover, which would be the guns, the survival kit, the ammos, the going out and exploring the woods, being in East Tennessee, having fun. But there's also our regular lives. Now, do we do a personal side thing when we're still only at 5,000 subs? Or do we put that on the main channel and kind of make the channel about our actual lifestyles and what we do on a day-to-day basis? Now Kyle's doing the more trucking stuff. I actually have a pretty interesting job, but there's a whole lot of stuff I can't talk about because I've signed a lot of contracts and things like that. Just where I work in, the more advanced technology business on my sourcing side. There's a lot of the higher end tech companies that I work with and directly for, and I can't disclose a lot of that information, especially to a global channel where we're watched by a lot of people in India and China and things like that. Some of these things are like state secret kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, I can't talk a whole lot about that particular part of my job, but I can talk about like some of the different aspects. Like I'm going golfing on, well, not really golfing. I'm going to Topgolf on the 20th. And we're going to, basically, it's going to be a work event. I'm going to be meeting some CEOs and people like that from Europe for our business. And we're just going to sit around and have, smack some golf balls around. Basically, it's like a driving range type of situation. Have a couple of drinks, have something to eat. Now, the only thing that makes that interesting is I've not hit a golf ball since I was 12. I swung it one time. It went about 8 feet and kind of skid across the ground because I hit the top of the ball and just kind of rolled. And then right after that, it was at my cousin's house, who has a pretty decent, or used to have a pretty decent sized farm at his stepdad's. Once again, we were 12. We were riding four-wheelers around his property collecting the golf balls while his stepdad was shooting them from the top of the hill. And it was fun. I mean, we got to ride the four-wheelers around.
It sounded like why he was shooting them from the top of the hill.
Nah, he was driving.
The king of the hill.
He was driving golf balls. Now, he hit one in the air, and my cousin's like, let's catch it. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm not thinking, you know how hard somebody can hit a golf ball? It can go... You could put a hole in quite a few things with a golf ball, hit at full speed. It can damage some pretty, strong products. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I'll send you some stuff. But I'm trying to catch it. So it's not like I caught it immediately at the drive. But we're driving, and I'm seeing it, and I'm like, I think I can get this one. He's getting super close, and he's, lining it up. And I'm, trying to, line it up to make a catch. Because I'm thinking I'm going to catch this like a football. Terrible idea. I didn't catch it. It skipped down and hit me in the funny bone right here, and my whole arm went numb. And I was just like, okay. You know what it's like when you hit your funny bone and you get that, tingling.
Especially if you smack it real hard.
Yes. It got smacked by a full-speed drive golf ball. I couldn't move my arm the rest for 6-7 hours. It didn't move. It was just locked in this position. I was just like, it's tingling and it hurts like crazy, but I can't move it. I can hold it like this, put my arm, but I can't move it. I can't bring it into my body or nothing. Everything from my shoulder down was just shot. And I was like, okay,
Golly.
this is not good. Anyway, so since then, I haven't swung a golf club, and now I'm about to go in front of a bunch of CEO types and try to swing a golf club for the first time in almost 20 years.
Hey, that's a lie, Zach. We played putt-putt in Florida.
Fair. I've played a couple rounds of putt-putt, and I like to think I'm decent at it. Now, I've not swung a driver since that happened, and I'm apparently going to have a couple of drinks and try swinging one in front of a bunch of rich guys who all play golf all the time. So, one, they're either going to make fun of me a lot, or two, which my natural comedic style, I'm going to try to mess around with it a little bit. I know there's going to be a few other people there who are fairly new.
Yep.
So I'm going to try to get some side betting going on people who haven't touched a club in 5 years.
Don't gamble.
Yes, do not gamble. But, I'm going to be like, all right, let's have a driving competition amongst people who are actually brand new at golf and haven't played in a while.
Podcast interrupted.
I think we have some people coming to visit us.
Slowly creaking down the stairs. Okay, this might have been my fault.
What'd you do, Kyle?
You guys are going to see.
It might be both of our faults.
In 2 seconds.
We're recording. What's up? Oh, man, you should have told me. I would have had you get me something to drink, too.
What do you want?
Now it'll be all right. We'll get it after the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Love you, hon. That was my saint of a wife bringing me another alcoholic beverage.
Come on, you cut me off. I was going to say that was your assistant.
That was my assistant.
There's the one squeaky step I have on my stairs. You can hear it every time it hits. It goes,
Really?
You'll often hear me jump over it.
Sorry, guys. I need a tactical refill.
Tactical. You're good. Mine's empty, too, but it's, like I said, I killed half a bottle of Hennessy in one glass, so I'm okay.
It is Southern Shots, guys, and as you can see, this is a gun-free zone.
Yes. We didn't even bother, honestly, because we forgot. But
Yeah, we forgot, yeah. But also for monetization.
if you don't have one in the thumbnail, it helps. But I mean, we have a bullet in all of our thumbnails because it looks like this, except there's a bullet and thing in the bottom.
That's true, but there's no gun in this video.
I do like the yellow and purple look together. I mean, I don't like the Lakers or nothing, but the purple and gold actually pops pretty well.
Maybe we'll say we hate guns, we'll get monetized. Guns are bad.
Yeah, guys, guns are bad.
Don't-
If you have any, you should sell them to me.
Don't do
And
guns.
I'll help you get rid of them. Don't do guns.
Don't do guns.
Yeah, guys, don't do guns.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, I got, speaking of, we're getting to the fall season.
Yep.
Good time to look into different options for maybe your new concealed carry stuff. When you're in the middle of summer, it's a little bit harder. You got your, shorts and a t-shirt, and it can be more difficult to carry sometimes.
Yeah, it can, especially depending on what kind of gun you're carrying, too.
Yeah, exactly. But this time of year, it's a great time to get you a new jacket. I showed it to Kyle. I got one for my birthday. I went to Legendary Whitetails website, and we got I got myself a new jacket. They had it on sale, and it has a Velcro inside on each side here. And inside of it, you can hold a gun. I'll splice in an image.
It's a sweet jacket.
Yeah, but it has a little holster thing that you can connect to the Velcro, and it connects on either side. And it can be used. The holster can be used for the gun, and they have two little smaller ones that we use to hold mags.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my plan right now. Is I'm going to start carrying that a lot more in the winter. Right now, I carry my gun in my truck basically everywhere, and I got a few other smaller guns I carry. But now that I've got myself a good thermal jacket, because that's the thing, I've got the shoulder holster, and I have hip holster carries and things like that. I find being able to carry inside my jacket so much easier. But it weighs down most standard light rain jackets. This one is designed with that in mind and has reinforcement over the shoulders to help support the additional weight in these two areas.
That just gave me a great video idea. How quick, tactically, can Zach get to his gun wearing the jacket?
Yeah, that's a good point. We could also, while we're doing that, discuss whether or not it makes sense to keep one in the chamber when you're carrying it like that. Because it's worst case scenario, it's right here, pointed backwards. Even if it does accidentally discharge, it's going downward, and it's going through, it's not actually hitting your body. Versus if you were to carry one not in the chamber, which is required in some states. I think Florida is like that as well. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, some states you can't run one in the chamber.
Yep. Which, I mean, it's fine in Tennessee. I'll probably always, when I'm traveling with a gun or if I'm moving around with one, if I do not feel that whatever I'm holding it in is completely secure, I will not leave one in the chamber. If I feel like it could rattle or move or something might bump it in whatever location it is, just out of my safety. I've seen too many people shoot themselves in the leg, get grazing accidents, shoot themselves in the foot.
That's true.
It happen when you are not comfortable in how you're securing something. It's all about comfort when it comes to guns.
Yeah.
You can't get too comfortable where you're like, oh, I forgot to check if there's one in the chamber kind of thing. You don't want to get that comfortable, but you want to be comfortable enough around it that you feel safe and secure traveling with it at all times, and you're not thinking to yourself, okay, I need to leave the safety on, or I need to leave, keep it not one in the chamber because something might happen. You want to be completely comfortable with your guns if you're on travel with them.
Yeah, one of the chamber topic is a half and half, I would say, thing in the gun community, where half the people think they should have one in the chamber, and the other half of people don't. It's a constant headbutt thing. There's been several videos of people, on both sides, kind of debate. Yeah.
I mean, in reality, it takes time to it takes time to rack it and put one in the chamber.
Well, and there really is no right or wrong answer because it really depends on each individual scenario or situation. I've got my little girl with me all the time, so I'm confident not having one in the chamber, and at least when I'm, when she's around, because a lot of times I do carry it on my hip or something, and I pick her up and her legs swing and hit stuff, and if it hits my holster, I'd hate for it to somehow bump it or something. Not that could happen, but anything's possible. So I think it really just depends, your situation.
Yeah, it's the scenario and the way you live your life as well. I'm I don't have any kids. In most 99% of situations I'm in, I feel perfectly comfortable having one in the chamber. But when my nieces or nephews come over or something like that, I go through and I purposely make sure that there's no way an accident can happen. My nieces are fine. My nephews are wildlings, all right? You cannot, you can barely get those kids to keep a shirt on and shoes on, let alone actually listen to anything you say. They will take off full-on sprinting barefoot in your yard the second they arrive. And they're like, oh, hey, you're here too. It's like, you're at my house.
You're at my house.
Yes. I remember I was at a funeral and one of my little nephews came up. It was one of my cousin's kids. He has 3 of them. And he goes, hi, my name is blah, blah, and he goes, I'm the bad one. And I was like, he goes, yeah, I'm the mean one. I was like, you're the mean one? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, that makes sense. Runs in the family. Just kind of started laughing.
You're the mean one.
Yeah, that was the oldest one. Anyway, his little sister comes walking up shortly after. I'm like, hi, what's your name? She tells me her name. I said, your brother said he's the mean one. She goes, no, I'm the mean one. And I'm like, oh hell, it's all 3 of them. And it was all 3 of them kids. They all said they were the mean one. They all kicked their shoes off and took off running in the gravel parking lot and just was fighting with each other the whole time.
Wow.
So there are children like that all over the place. Like I said, it's all about your scenario. If I'm around children like that, I don't keep one in the chamber. Just
smart move.
There's just too much danger. Honestly, I get a little worried keeping the mag in around some of them kids. But that's, I'm going to keep my mag in. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who behave way too dangerously with guns. They get overly comfortable.
Yeah.
They get complacent. They don't always check to make sure that the chamber's empty before they hand you a gun. They don't drop the mag. They don't make sure all the safety's on or anything like that. They just kind of hand you a gun because they're accustomed to their gun, and maybe they think you know more than you actually do about their gun, and they're just like, hey, here you go. It's don't forget it's a Glock type. It's like, well, maybe you're just used to firing different types of guns, and maybe you haven't handled that many Glocks, even though it is a common brand or something.
Yeah.
There's always you assume the person you're handing your gun to, if you're showing it to them, knows nothing.
Is a dumbass.
Assume they have never touched a gun in their life, even if you know they have.
True.
And check your chamber, drop the mag, make sure you're empty, and before you hand it over, flip the safety on, whatever you feel comfortable handing before they do. And if they want to mess around with it, let them mess around with it a little bit, but make sure you're safe and secure before you pass that gun over.
Pow pow.
Yep.
You're dead.
It happens like that.
Damn it.
It just takes one instance, which is part of the reason why we like guns.
Yeah, accidental suicides are quite common with guns and people that just don't pay attention. I actually had a customer like a month and a half ago that I printed the buyer's order for, and he was telling me how his stepson had just passed, and he's like, his stepson was like 20-ish or something, and it's because he still lived at home, and he somehow shot himself and was deemed accidental. Basically, he was playing with a gun that was loaded, an adult, and somehow shot himself, which it happens all the time. Yeah. But it's really just, aside from children, it's really just, well, even with the children's situation, it's just you not being very responsible,
Yep. So, like I said, there's a lot of controversies about this subject, about keeping one in the chamber and things like that. Just be conscious of your situation and think twice before you make the decision.
Yeah, that's all that matters, guys. Cause
like I said, you may feel super comfortable that no one's ever going to bump your hip. But then life happens. And then things you never expect happen. Maybe you get into a car accident driving to work and it gets jostled around. And then next thing you know, there's gun discharges in your vehicle. You need to be careful, but once again, make your own decisions. If you don't feel safe not having one in the chamber, that's up to you as well. It's all about your comfort level and your safety level, but be sure to consider those around you as well.
And there's different situations too. Like if I'm going into a gas station in the middle of Atlanta that I know is ghetto, I'm gonna go ahead and have one in the chamber when I go out.
Yeah. If I'm traveling through certain areas, certain neighborhoods, hell, parts of the town we're in right now. Like, if I go to certain spots at 3 a.m., I know what it's like.
Yep.
It's not even ghetto. It's just a bunch of homeless people. And you just never know when one that you don't give money to is going to get a little too aggressive.
Calm down, sir.
They look at you like, hey, man, you got any money? And say you got change for a 20.
Ask for $1, bitch. You see that on Scary Movie too. So can't you see this man's just hungry?
Yeah, it feels rude, but often I get asked it so many times during the day if I go out with my wife that I just stop making eye contact with people when they try to flag me down. I pretend like I'm deaf. I just keep walking. I'm just like, listen, I don't mind helping people. I genuinely don't. But I know in the city of Morristown, if I wanted a job, and I mean any job, and I was any person, it would take me about 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's super easy to get a job, and
I'm fucking no skills. Never had. You could be dirty and homeless and show up to like at least 2 of the places I've worked at before and be like, hey, I need work. And they're like, well, somebody's got to lift these 90-pound chairs in the back of this truck. And it's like, okay, maybe you can't handle that physically. You know, there's plenty of other opportunities. This town has over a 66% job. Like, the people that work here, 66% report their job is related to manufacturing.
oh yeah, factory. Yeah, there's a lot of factories here.
And there's every type of factory you can imagine, every type of opportunity. It's solid work too. Now the pay's not the greatest. You're not going to be a millionaire.
But that's what happens, you
But
know.
you're not going to be homeless.
You gotta start somewhere, guys. And there's, you know, the Mexican bread store that's down the road, the purple one, and there's a Mexican taco place there.
Yes.
Dude, there's a guy, and I've seen him there several times because I go there, you know, at least once every couple months because Yasmin's family goes to church close by there. So he sits and waits for people to come out of the restaurant and asks them for money in the parking lot.
Yeah, I think he tried to flag us down one day as well.
Dude, that's all he does.
Yeah, that's because he can live like that. He makes enough money off of doing that he can like survive to the next day.
It's sad.
It's really sad. It's hard to watch. And that's the thing. That's why, I mean, I hate to be that guy. And if I see someone who genuinely looks like they need help, I'll do what I can to help. If somebody looks like their car's broke down on the side of the road kind of thing, or something like that.
Yeah, you can tell.
You've got a pre-made sign, and you're just sitting out there.
Collecting money all day.
Yes. I've seen enough of them get done collecting money, then go hop in their vehicles and drive off, and then text on their cell phone and things like that. It's like, my man, you're not struggling that hard. You could make do. There's enough food pantries, there's enough food banks, there's enough homeless shelters in this town. There's enough churches that will give out like all the free donations you can handle. They will also give out free drug rehab opportunities.
So this topic of helping these people and knowing when I was 16, I used to work at Sonic here over Sonic West, you know, Morristown, and you know, I was 16, making like $7.50 an hour, so I was flat broke. And I went to the Walmart over here. I don't know what I was doing. I had to get something. I had like $20 in my bank account at that time. And there was this family. It was an Indian people, and their car was broke down. Or no, they were out of gas, and they didn't have no money. And like I misread the sign. This is so stupid. So you know, there's a gas station in that parking lot. Well, he was on the far end of the parking lot. And I was pulling up to see, you know, because what they needed, somebody handed them like $5, right? And then I was like, okay. So I was like, I thought the sign said you needed a ride to the gas station. So
did you drive him to a different gas station?
Listen, so I put him in the car, and he just got $5. He's got a gas can, and I drive him to the gas station. It's like 300 feet away from the fucking car. And dude, he's like. He was asking me for the money, and I was like, what?
What?
I had like $20 in my bank account, and I still had to have money for gas to get back and forth to school. So I was like,
I ain't got money, man.
I found like some change in my cup holder, my Ranger, and I was like, this is all I've got. And I thought the sign said he needed to ride to a gas station, but I didn't put it in my head. There's a fucking gas station like 300 yards away.
Yeah, he could have walked there. He just needed gas money, man. That's hilarious.
You got to read the signs, guys. Almost all of them. It's almost all of them. It seems they put homeless veteran. But I wonder what percentage of those guys are actually veterans. You wonder. Because it works. It pulls people's heartstrings.
Especially in this area, but it makes sense too. It is a common thing. You going to war can change people a lot. You can always kind of tell, especially when they tell you some of the stories. You can kind of see how it affected them and things like that, which it makes it a more common practice, but it also creates all these false opportunities for people who aren't like that. They're like, oh, I'm a veteran. And it's like, they didn't even like serve in an area.
30-year-old Iraq veteran.
They like worked in the mail area.
Vietnam veteran, I'm sorry.
30-year-old Vietnam vet.
I was in Vietnam.
Now they, it's like when? Like 2002? They, what was it? Now they, you'll often find some of them that they'll claim their veteran status, and it's like, okay, but you worked in the mail room back at the local base. Like, you never even left the country kind of thing. Oh, man. But it's not my place to judge. If I can help somebody, I'll always try to help them. But, we got our own stuff to worry about.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, if it seems genuine and I can help, I will. But if I get the vibe, like, this guy just does this, like, the guy, he just explained in Morristown, it's like, it just pisses me off. Because, like, I go to, you go to work, you spend time away from your family to be able to provide, and then somebody just wants you to give it away. Yeah. Like, it's different if somebody's trying and they're in a position of, messed up spot.
Yeah, sometimes life happens and you struggle.
So for the guy that just does it on a daily basis, and that's how he makes a living, that's ridiculous.
I've seen it though. Medical bills hit people. Sometimes your car gets repoed. Life can spiral out of control. And those people that need help, I'll always try to find a way to help them, especially if they're younger children kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's homeless people in town that I grew up in that I've known to be homeless since I lived there, and they just make a living like that.
Oh, yeah.
And people just take care of them, and it's like, well, nothing you can do about it.
There's a lot of them in Rogersville, too.
There's a lot.
There's one old man that always sleeps on the bench during the day, and then there's the lady that's always pushing a Walmart buggy that's clearly stolen from Walmart.
Yep, she went down there and took her a buggy. Now she rolls her stuff around with it.
Did I show you, and don't condone this activity. So last time I was in Florida, what was it, 3 or 4 months ago maybe? And, in Florida everybody gets a little wild,
Yeah, Florida people.
There was a brand new Publix buggy in the parking lot at on Front Beach. Publix is like, a 15-minute drive. Yeah. And I was like, well, it's empty. And we were all, having some fun. So I took it. And it's actually at the shop. Jared's gonna make a go-kart out of it.
Stole some homeless person's buggy.
Stole a homeless person's cart.
That they rightfully stole from a Publix. All right.
Yeah. No, but this was a brand new buggy, guys. And I was like, well,
that's a cool buggy.
Here's the thing. I wasn't gonna do it, but Yasmin convinced me to do it. Well, you know how she is. She's real convincing.
Real thievery driven. All right. I'm just messing with you.
Well, yeah, seriously though, I was like, I don't know. She's like, just do it.
She's gonna kill you if she hears this. You know that, right?
I gave it a peer pressure and I did it. I did it.
It definitely wasn't Kyle's idea, and I definitely didn't text him like, steal the buggy.
Yeah.
Whispering.
We'll see if it turns into a go-kart shop right now, but
you're gonna see Kyle flip a Publix buggy. You're gonna be like, we'll have a video of it up on the channel. I'll be like, I wonder where that came from.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
There's not a Publix around here.
It was free game. I didn't steal it from the grocery store.
Yeah, he stole it from someone who already stole it.
Yeah. Just because a homeless person ditched it to go swimming does not mean anything.
Once again, that is not legal advice. Okay, do not steal.
Do not steal buggies.
It's not buggies. Okay. Do not convert them into go-karts. Don't. Hell, don't do half the stuff you see on this channel. All right?
Technically, I didn't steal it. I found it.
Still don't do it. Okay, just don't. Okay, this is not legal advice.
It's free game.
God, we're gonna get in trouble. I think this is a good place to end the podcast at. We'll have some more stuff in the next one as well. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover, anything you want us to go over, feel free to reach out. if you are the winner of the prize and you want to talk to us and try to get your prize, comment back with your email. We'll delete it as soon as we see it and as soon as we write down your email.
We will get you your prize if you would just give us an email. We can't do it without an email, okay?
You gotta be able to reach out to you, man.
It's not magic.
Yeah. All right.
No offense.
That's everything I have. You got any more topic updates for us, Kyle?
Just be sure you like, subscribe, check out our merch store. Guys, if we could sell like 500 shirts, we could buy a brand new scar and torture test it.
I mean, I kind of want to torture test his scar.
Do what?
Well, I kind of want to torture test your scar while I get me a new one. No,
Well, if you guys would just buy some merch, we got some cool stuff. There's some tank tops now. There's we're getting ready for hoodie season, so we'll probably come out with some hoodies. Also, I do have one thing I do want to touch on really quick. When Halloween next month, when it comes around, it would be cool to do a Halloween style podcast, maybe some ghost stories, that sort of stuff, because I'm all into that stuff. But that's pretty much all I got to add.
All right, I'm good on my end. Y'all have a good weekend.
Yep. See you guys. That could be a fun episode for Halloween.
It's not recording.
It's not. Oh my God, Zach.
I'ma get busy with it right now. I'ma get busy with it right now. I'ma get busy with it right now. I'ma get busy with it right now.